Welcome to the Unreal BootCamp lesson on updating the player's username. The purpose of this lesson is to highlight one piece of data that we receive as part of the authentication response, the player name. In the example JSON response, the player name is Jimmy, but until a player name is actually set by the user, an empty string will be returned instead. We'll be using the player's username in an upcoming lesson to post a score to a leaderboard. Let's take a few moments to look at the request on how to change the player's username. On the left, close the brainCloud wrapper and then click Client API. Scroll down and find player state. Then click Update Username. To make an update username request, we need to supply a string parameter that represents the username that we are updating. Click the JSON response to familiarize yourself with the data that the request will return. Let's head back into Xcode and navigate to the network callback.h file. Declare a pair of callback functions for updating the username. Once that's done, navigate to the network manager.h file. Declare a public method named updateUsername that takes in one parameter of type const fstring reference named username. Below that, declare a public method called getUsername. This method returns an fstring value. Declare a pair of private callback functions that will be invoked on a successful or failed update username request. Declare a private variable of type network callback handler named mUpdateUsernameCallback. Navigate to the network manager.cpp file. In the constructor, set up the update username callback functions. Scroll down and implement the update username method. In the body of the method, we'll check to see if the user is authenticated, and if they aren't, we'll log a meaningful error message, and if set, invoke the callback's onUpdateUsername request failed method. However, if the user is authenticated, we'll invoke the brainCloud's player state services update name method, passing in the username parameter and the address of the update username callback object as the arguments. Below this method, implement the getUsername method. In the body, get the username from brainCloud's player state service and return it. Scroll down to the bottom and implement the onUpdateUsername callback method. Log the response data. If the callback is set, invoke the onUpdateUsername request completed method. Next, implement the onUpdateUsername error method. Log an error message along with a JSON error. And if the callback is set, invoke the onUpdateUsername request failed method. Navigate to the change username dialog widget.cpp file. At the top, include networkmanager.h. Then, in the onChange button clicked method, invoke the network manager's update username method, passing in the username from the text field object. Click the Run button to build the project and launch the Unreal editor. Once in the Unreal editor, run the game. From the main menu, click brainCloud. Then, click Change Username. Enter a new username, then click Change. This next part is optional and actually not necessary, but log out and then log back in. Enter the same email and password credentials as before. Once we have re-authenticated with brainCloud, stop the game. Open your web browser and navigate to the brainCloud portal. On the left, click Users, then click User Browser. Notice that the first user in the list has both an email identity and a username set. An overview of the brainCloud Design Portal's API Explored is the next lesson in the Unreal Bootcamp.